Charleston was number 8 of the
Are
original
you
calendar.
filming me?
Huh?
Don't film me. Please don't.
I want you to explain it to me.
Yeah, but Troy.
Okay.
So a lot of the original architecture and historic buildings still are there. The Charleston Museum, the first museum that America had.
Okay.
Dock Street Theater, the first theater America ever had.
Okay.
Okay. One of the most famous plays about African Americans called Porgy and Bess that started in Charleston. It's wonderful.
Okay.
Okay. So Charleston has a lot to offer that a lot of cities can't offer culturally to a wide variety of people.
Okay. So it was established when?
Oh Lord, you would ask me historic questions, wouldn't you?
Yeah. yeah. Because that's what I am, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can find out. I don't remember a lot. I'm sorry.
You have to get over. Everybody else got over.
Right there, right?
Yeah, it's 2 lanes turning.
The right?
Yeah, it's 2 lanes turning.
Okay. Damn, look at this building. Downtown.
That's why everybody got over so they can make that right turn. You got the light. Yeah, let's go see Charlotte.
Yeah, this place seemed run down, man. Yeah, revitalization.
It's a tear down job. Ain't no revitalization of
Well, they're
that.
ripping them down, starting over.
This is Meeting Street.
Yeah, this is the one.
Beneath the visitor center.
Yeah, it shows you on the map what it was, I'm sure you're gonna go straight to it.
Well, stay in your lane. We're looking for the visitor center.
Yeah.
I don't see nothing. I want to take a picture of right now.
That's a trolley there.
But you got to pick it up at the visitor center. back of that man's truck. That's how you getting it.
Yeah, that's not good at all.
Okay, we're looking for the visitor center.
Charleston Visitor Center parking.
This is the one right here. You can't go in here. Right lane turn. This must be it, right?
The old 1856 cotton tobacco house on your right. And I know about 40, 50 years ago, Philip was apprenticing that workout and teaching the younger generation to find artisan crafting skills by hand. Well, when he started doing that, folks, he was carrying on a tradition what Charleston would become early in the colonial South. That's the apprentice capital of the South for the enslaved West Africans. If they needed a skill, they'd be brought to this town, taught that skill, and shipped out. That is the major reason today Charleston is considered the start of the African American Heritage Trail. In the 1700s, over 40% of all the West African slaves brought to the 13 colonies here came right through the port of Charleston. Timbering and rice were very labor-intensive, much needed. Now in front of us was the rag farm until the 1790s when the family broke it up into residential lots. They left this acre of green space on your left, though, rag mall with a nice fountain in it now. And in the mall, along our street sweeps, right and left, they planted this indigenous tree to the coastal plains of the deep south that has a characteristic of branching low on the trunk, and then the branches growing eerily mysteriously everywhere. Referred to as a southern live oak, they call it live because it stays leaves and evergreen all year long, providing shade from that subtropical sun. For further evidence of just how hot and humid it can be here, do you folks know what this gray matter is hanging over these live oaks? Anything else it wants to hang on? Spanish moss is a common name. But folks, it's not Spanish, it's not a moss, nor is it a parasite. It won't damage any of the trees or such you see it on. Just looking for a place that happened in if they're war, you know. Branches marrying the swamp fox, you'll see a fountain up here on your right-hand side, and the swamp fox's honor, and it is Marion Square. The old settlement at times a tobacco inspection house, Tobacco Street runs in front with it. Farmer's market held every Saturday is winding up. On the far side with its red doors, you'll see a coral-colored 1872 German Gothic architecture style church. St. St. Matthew's, the German Lutheran church, and with its weather vane and steeple, 276 feet tall. It's the tallest on the peninsula. The steeple goes above our skyscraper, too, that's located to its left across Marion Square. And for you metropolitan city slickers, that's our skyscraper, okay? It's the 19th church, is where we're at. Right over here to your left in 1770, the church gave some of this land to the free school. That became the seed of the first municipal college in America, the College of Charleston, which is the 13th oldest college in our country, but the first municipal one is city supported. So you got a beautiful old historic charming southern college campus, smack dab in this beautiful old historic charming southern town. I do like showing it off, though it is now a 4-year state-supported mostly level art school. Student population in the fall session, about 13,000 off the campus. Early Georgian beige house on your right, stained steel metal roof. You might call it colonial, squatted up to the ground, folks. Early Georgian encompasses colonial. I want to point out the black latches holding back the beige shutters. They look like a curly tail of a dog. Sure enough, that's what they're called, dog tails. No matter what the design, what you throw dog tails, leave this pretty campus on your right. Straight dogwood on your right, curtain burn on your left, live oak, Spanish lawns, beautiful fountain, plants, flowers. Any of you folks seen a movie been out a long time based roughly on the life of Francis Marion, starring Mel Gibson and Heath Ledger? The movie was called The Patriot.
Yeah, The Patriot.
You might recognize this building here on your right. A lot of it was filmed here. Because early in that movie, Martin came to town and met with the Continentals. The meeting was filmed inside the building across the brick stucco wall on your right, 1822.
Wow.
This is Randolph Cheese. An eyebrow arched entranceway, hand-carved doors, medieval lamps, a slate roof, and a building technique seen often here. Remember, these are immigrants who never produced a house in Europe. Across that ocean, folks, if you were wealthy, you employed stonemasons, you built with stone. Well, they were every bit per capita wealthier here, folks, but we're in the low country. Not a piece of marble or granite within 100 miles of this area. So your house wasn't big enough for you? Maybe this house over here on your left will be. And folks, this is a house. Charleston has always attracted its share of eccentric. The man who built this house was eccentric and very wealthy. His name is Francis Alice Rogers. He built the house on your left with imported Philadelphia red brick. Right after the earthquake, 1886, its architectural style, Second Empire Victorian. And I hope everybody can look up top, see that beautiful mansion slate roof with a wrought iron finale, a fence line around the roof, the individual hand-carved brackets, and the soffit line right beneath the roof line. Now, the big dome on the top, architecturally, is known as the cupola, which lets sunlight in and heat escape, pigeons are. There's some marble steps there, there's a puppy dog there, guard dog, look at that, isn't that cute? Yeah, fine thing, fine date. Out here on the west side, folks, particularly at Charleston Village, we've got a lot of Victorian properties. Now, Victorians and architectural style became popular in our country after the war in the 1870s, 1920s with their turrets. Remember, too, all the restoration woodwork here, folks, must be hand-carved by code. They allow no computer labor. We have a school here called the School of the Building Arts. Teaches the skills necessary to achieve that. They make a decent living doing it as well. Chimney caps are neat. All over town, very European English looking, keeping the rain out. Fires going, and occasionally different architectural styles of people blended together. If you look at the pink Victorian home on your right with this marble steps, hand-carved cypress door, it's all Victorian, but there are three Victorian styles, folks. That right-hand side balustrade is East-Lake Victorian. Cookie cutter pattern in the middle is Baton Victorian, with the left-hand side arch Beyonce Queen Anne Victorian. They call that the American style. Very aesthetically pleasing, though. And then a pure symbol of the South, with this orange brick stucco wall, big waxy green leaf, the southern magnolia, big white place-size lemonade feet up, plenty of gardens around. Beautiful ironwork gave this house recently restored there, double brackets in.
So who did the iron work? Like artists? It's like an
West
artist.
Africans, yeah, like West Africans, Germans.
Oh, did that iron work?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely. Now, we just came off the Highlands here on Rutledge Avenue. If we were here in 1850, we'd be looking at nothing but a dirt causeway. Front saltwater marsh on your left. Huge saltwater lake, Rutledge Lake, attached by a creek to the Ashley River. They closed in 1890, when they finally called it the Colonial Commons. And it's called Colonial Lake now, which is still a saltwater lake. They closed in 1890, still attached to the Ashley River by culvert. I wanted to point out, though, everything to the right of it, and in front of it on the right, pretty much on landfill, after the pale green Victorian home on your left. Folks.
Yeah.
Look at the hand-carved wooden brackets holding up to that front door. It's a hand-carved cypress door with etching in the glass. That kind of artistic embellishment just abounds everywhere here. Got a yellow Baton Victorian cookie cutter turret on your left, and it's followed by an olive green East-Lake Victorian turret. Turret's handled altogether different. Beautiful stained glass work. In the front door, there's olive green house on your left with a stainless steel metal roof. Three Greek Revival single houses on your left. These last two got those European English chimney caps I'm so fond of. And highlighted to your right against Colonial Lake is our state tree, folks, which you'll find on our indigo blue state flag with this gorget sunset crescent moon. Trying for some shrimp out there, I believe. Yeah, this is our state tree. It grows indigenously along the immediate coastline of the deep south. It is a member of the palm family, but there are no coconuts. Little tiny fruit emerging. The squirrels seem to like on those seed pods coming out. That is the sable palmetto, and that is our state tree. Take a look to your left, this gray Victorian home. Look at the hand-carved wooden brackets holding up to that front door. Another hand-carved cypress door etching in the glass. Emerald glass there, turret windows. If you'd like to come live with us, folks, we got a house for sale coming up on your left, Italian info. Villa, brick stucco. The asking price $3.5 million. If you get out your checkbook, come visit us.
I was gonna say 1.5. You wouldn't be out like
3.5. What I really wanted to point out was a beautiful glass and ironwork in the door, around the door, with sidelines. The ironwork on these pedestrian lamps, here's a pedestrian gate, and there's the glass work in that door. Yeah, the new part of Old Charleston encompasses 1910 to the 1960s. Houses there on your right, particularly down next to the rest of them are from the 40s, 50s, and 60s here. Here we are, Broad Street, which is another street that bisects the peninsula. We're going to turn to the left, head on down to the four corners of Law.
No, man.
We kept those union officers and fine Southern Charleston hospitality fashion roads. Got some Victorian homes coming up on your left, the second one up, and the three white lamps in the front yard, my favorite. And that Victorian home, but look up in the eaves, a hand-carved balcony. Looks like a leprechaun living in the attic, coming out waving at you. George and Brick Bible single houses on your right. Sometimes they'll sink into the dirt a little bit, big crooked. We just think that adds to the character of them. Coming up on your left, a Georgian double house, fluted columns, you'll call it Tara from 1850. I wanted to point out the hand-cut glass and the fan light above the front door of the side lights. Now I'm working this gate right here on your left. Cut glass and that fan light. More cut glass in the Victorian home, little hand-carved brackets. Hold up to it, hanging columns, turret brackets everywhere. Now folks, we are on Broad Street, and it is literally that. It's the broadest street on the peninsula. And it divides the halves going up to Calhoun Street on your left. I've shown you some examples of those folks. Broad Street divides them from the Ham Moors going down to the Ashley River on your right. See, the high rent district is on your right, folks. If you don't live on this peninsula, you get to have fun with the folks who do. We generally take it in good humor because we refer to these inhabitants to our right as those that live south of Broad. We abbreviate them out, and they're lovingly referred to as the SLBs. Gotta have a sense of humor to live here. Now, the ones on the left going up to Calhoun Street, they live slightly north of Broad. We abbreviate them out too. They're the SNOBs. Snobs on the left, SOBs on the right.
Wow.
They hear us calling that. They look
That's
at us
like
and
each
laugh. Yeah. After all, they can afford the homes, the restoration, the upkeep, the property taxes. They are fine neighbors and great preservationists. We're lucky we have them. Beautiful Catholic church on your left. The Cathedral of St. John the Baptist, Gothic Revival architecture, built 1907. Put a gold cross on the steeple a couple of years back, gorgeous under the sunlight. Very fine finales on top of the buttresses, 2 stories of very high arch Gothic stained glass windows. Beautiful eyebrow arch entrance on the sides you will find on a single house on this peninsula. There are a few more, not many. Since we got a place to park here, I want to talk about both of these homes, which are both now bed and breakfasts. Both at one time owned by the historic brothers. The oldest one is the one on the right, from 1760. And 26 years old when he signed that document. Figure what his old Rutledge house. Now the checkerboard sidewalk, semicircle marble stairway, pediment in front door, and elaborate cast and wrought iron work. All that was placed on the front facade in 1850.
There is a Santa in there. So it's about 2.5 hours from here, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
This is hand done. All
Oh,
this is hand done.
carving.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's considered the
Now, of course, the brickwork,
Yeah.
not, but I'm going to get that to you so that you
yeah,
can.
okay. So
But yeah, and I tell people,
Okay.
and this is something that I know for a fact. There's 21.
Down Islands. The butler's name, William Dees. William produced a very famous signature Charleston soup in that house, do you love? Anybody had a cup of William's signature Charleston soup yet? You know which soup I'm talking about?
No.
She crab soup. Nobody's tried she crab soup yet?
No.
Lord, make your tongue stop your palate silly, folks. You gotta say hurt your body, rich. Not allergic to shellfish, get you a couple of bowl of that she crab soup. John Rutledge, folks, is a man, Alexis de Tocqueville, who in 1830 came from France. Appointed John Rutledge as Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. The second one, when he served one unconfirmed term. Northern interests would not confirm him. They did not like his politics. Guess what? He didn't like theirs either. He served one unconfirmed term.
Wow.
So the Blue House coming up on your left, folks, is the oldest frame structure in solid cypress we know of on the peninsula.
100 years
And we
old.
think it was built 1694. It could be as late as 1712. One time owned by Dr. John Lanning, who was a contemporary of Benjamin Franklin, who had his fingers down here. Dr. John Lanning created the first the first weather observations with weather instruments in that house on your left 3 times a day. Reported them to the scientific establishments in Europe, British Isles, and up north. Guess you can say on your left, folks, that's America's first weather station. If you'll notice, we're crossing over King Street again, and to your left Everything is up King Street, pretty much commercial now. Everything to your right behind these buildings, folks, is residential. And up and down the entire length of Broad Street, it's a highly desirable residential area. There's the old historic old Charlestown district. Over 1,000 properties in it. And we're going into it through the intersection of Meeting Street and Broad, what we Charlestonians live and refer to as the four corners of law, given that designation Robert Ripley when he was visiting. Went on to write Ripley's Believe It or Not, because to your right, the Renaissance revival of tiny neck granite, built after the earthquake through the 1890s upstairs, U.S. Federal Courthouse, U.S. Post Office, and Postal Museum underneath it. Federal law on your right. County Courthouse or county laws on your left. Then at the light in front on the left, I think he's building from 1801. It's the first Bank of the United States building and we lost its charter in 1811. By 1818, it had become and still is today City Hall. It is the second longest running City Hall in this country, behind New York.
This one on the left?
The biggest one across the street on the left is, got public restrooms, by the way, in the basement. And find Washington Park for walking and contemplating behind it. So you got federal law, county law, municipal law, and overlooking all of them across the street to your right, folks, God's law, Canton law. Very large church edifice because the congregation has large wealth. The white church you see on your right is the oldest on the peninsula. This is St. Michael's Episcopal Church, completed 1761. Pre-revolutionary, the finest Georgian architectural style church you've probably find in America. With its portico, steeple, and meeting house all separate. Most often open to the public, it features original southern red cedar and closed pews. Beautiful Indian glass. 2 stories, 14 piazzas around the polished slate driveway. Whole properties work hard. Whole town is. When the British were here, Colonel John Nash built himself a very fine Georgian double house. Coming up on your right with the pediment in front door. That is a pure 1782 double house.
Wow.
2 rooms wide, 2 rooms deep, 3-tier piazza, Georgian couple at the top. Recently sold, by the way, for the most money yet paid for a house in Charleston. At 10,800 square feet, it brought $7.75 million.
Wow.
And there are more houses. Generally, when the weather's nice, you'll have the sweetgrass basket weavers here, weaving the same coral basket weave that existed 500 years ago in West Africa. Brought in by the slaves, it's been handed down mother to daughter, grandmother to granddaughter, or grandson through the generations. They are displayed in this Smithsonian Institute, pure African-American art. And this art in craft form is practiced only in Charleston, a little bit north of our city of Highway 17, a few isolated islands along the Georgia coast. Brings that old part of Charleston's history, culture, and character right into the present, which is never really lost. Charleston is a living history town. So we're very fortunate to have them, the sweetgrass basket weavers. Keep in mind too, like our history, our sidewalks are very uneven. So as you're walking, we ask that you watch your step, don't want you to hurt yourself. Tripping. And sometimes these folks will leave the carriage gate jumping like the one on your right, showing up their garden. When you see that, folks, be nosy. Take all the pictures you wish. We just ask you not walk through their gardens. Too many folks do that, and they'll have to close them off. We'd rather have them open for you to view. Actually driving down with the 2 walls of the moat, the Wall City ran. Going to be crossing over the oldest street on the peninsula in a moment. Tradd Street predates the Wall City. Coming up on your right, though, from 1740 is the Bradford Horry House, Georgian architecture style double house, with 1840 piazza over the sidewalk. And that's a bit unusual, folks. We got a few of those. Take a look to your left, though. Take the cars out of the picture. Just look at the old 1700 streetscape, the houses, the buildings. Does that look like an American street to you, folks? Got a real European or Caribbean feel. It's old and well preserved. Now we're going downhill. 5th oldest church edifice to your right. In 1814, the Twin Dome First Scots Presbyterian Church. Got that brick stucco and scouring technique. And on the cemetery post up there, there's a plaque that'll show you what the original Wall City with the streets inside looked like, all 63 acres. Southwest corner gun emplacement, Carlton Bastard stood in this approximate area. Next to it, another museum I don't know if you folks can view. which I highly recommend. You want to see how the Gone with the Wind individuals live? This house on the right, the Nathaniel Russell house from 1808. You can see his monogram in the second story balcony, right around the land. Come down here and done good as a businessman and wharf owner in 1808. He bought 2 lots, put this fine federal style single house with a balustrated flat roof all back on the lot, featuring an oval, square, and rectangular room on each story. And to get to each story, a very elegant and highly engineered 3-story, 3-flying staircase. Does not attach to any wall, just to each story. Here's the furniture. You want to see how the Gone with the Wind individuals live, folks? It's a good house this evening. The Russell house there on your right. Remember, too, when you look at these facades, that's all you're seeing. Behind them, spanning 2, 3, 4 stories, thousands of square feet of living space, and then behind that, the support buildings, a carriage house, stables, slave quarters, kitchen, privy, gardens. Beautiful ironwork and mounds everywhere, masonry work, woodworking, marble steps. Street after street, structure after structure. Some of these folks have put plaques on their properties too, and if you're curious as you walk about, stop and read them like the ones on your right. They'll say when they were built, who they were built by, a bit about both. Please be mindful and don't trip over one of the carriage blocks. You see them on the sidewalks here, to your left and to your right. They've been here for generations from a more modest era with no automobiles. The women didn't want to disclose too much leg or ankle, maybe their petticoats. Needed some help sending those carriages in their hoop skirts. Another carriage block on your right with a very fine gate and a garden behind that. Right there on the right leads to the end. We're on Lower Meany Street, one of my favorite houses to your right, the canary color facade of the single house on your right. Double earthquake bowls, very high iron balcony, carriage gets gorgeous. Look at the flower boxes in the windows, folks. If it works hard, get it up themselves. Now we got another house coming up on your left. You can visit them, ground 2 stories. I call the house coming up the Rhett Butler house because the guy that built it, George Williams Sr., was a blockade runner during the war. He made a ton of money doing it too. Became a very wealthy banker in Charleston benefactor after the war. Built the house, mostly Italianate revival, on a bombed-out lot in 1876. Wow. The heavy Union damage as the largest single-family home on the peninsula, with its attic 24,500 square feet.
What?
Notice the rope motif around the doors and windows. Look at the double doors. Yeah. Brass ironwork, chandelier front and back gives you an idea what you can store for there. Beautiful ironwork there on the fence line.
So Carolina wasn't destroyed by the Civil War. Wasn't touched by the Civil War.
No. Well, I mean,
this Charleston was affected.
Oh yeah, it was tore up. We got pictures. Yeah, it took them a long time to rebuild this town. Yeah, absolutely. They were poor. And some of them weren't poor. That guy never got paid in Confederate or Union currency. He was paid only in British sterling, pounds, and gold. He didn't care who won. He was going to make his
about the money.
He was about the money. Yeah, Mr. Williams had another daughter, married well to New King Street Jr. Mr. Williams spent a $75,000 check on his daughter's wedding night satin pillow. Wow. She came down the street from Daddy, bought this lot on your left, built this fine 1892 Queen Anne Victorian home in solid cypress. For the 5th wedding anniversary, Mr. Kane and Mr. Tiffany come out of New York and installed 2 stained glass panels in that parlor, still seen today. Through the first 2 windows past the chandelier, you'll see one of those Tiffany stained glass panels. Folks, we call that house on your left the Wedding Cake House, which is appropriate for Charleston. Charleston's a very visitor romantic city. Place of condominiums up top, meeting space underneath. And the bulkhead of Murray Boulevard, extending down close to a mile on your right. This was all built up, called the Low Battery. 1910s through the 1930s, keep the waves and the currents from the Ashley River. From a road near on our right, you could be landfill stabilized, a multi-million-dollar mansion built on it. And don't get me wrong, folks, they're multi-million-dollar mansions down to your right. They're just not old by Charleston tradition. The oldest one down there is 1911. They go up near the 1960s, next to the Coast Guard station. No bulkhead will keep out hurricane. That's the Ashley. About to meet up with the Cooper from Charleston Harbor. Hurricane Hugo in 1989, Category 4 storm, put 14 feet of water right here. Place the entire lower peninsula, most of the basement's underwater. Even the first floor is 3 to 8 feet of water and mud. Tremendous roof and tree damage, but you know, remarkably, a couple of months later, when you got them cleaned up, dried out, structurally, they were in pretty good shape. They seen hurricanes like that or worse before. If you want to bring your car down, folks, you got 2-hour free parking on your left across the median. Do not park in the yellow striped areas unattended. They will give you a ticket to tow you if you do. If you can find a park, the war and the incident came from the oldest fort in the area. It's no longer there. If you look across the Ashley River on your right, that land immediately across is over on your right-hand side, close to where we're at. This is all reclaimed water in March. We're on going up a slow elevation.
So that used to be marshland.
This was creek and water in March, yeah. This is all reclaimed water in March here. But there's a horseshoe brick fort out there on Sheets Folly. That's Castle Peyton. He's never used for anything more than short-term prisoner storage. By the way, on Sheets Folly Island, there was some Apple's pirates hung out there in the 1780s, hired here. In fact, a bunch of them hung right here in these live oaks on your left of White Point Gardens. In fact, we got a granite marker here. 49 pirates hung during the pirate era here. This third cannon on your left is an original 11-inch Union diamond. Very popular place to walk around down here, by the way. No restroom facilities, and the old end will give you no privacy whatsoever. So if nature calls, you got to make a sprint up to the Mission House on your right. Way up here, that's the high ground from 1787, the brown brick structure. And if they're not available because it's the home and headquarters of the Historic Charleston Foundation, there's a park right next to it that does have restrooms available from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. with an attendant there too. Now all these homes are here. Folks, when you look out to the harbor, imagine 100 to 300 tall massive ships at anchor.
Yeah.
Waiting to get into the wharfs we're headed towards. All these homes were here when the war between the states broke out. This first house up was from 1860. It's Louis de Saucer's home, folks. And that second house up is from 1849, John Ravenel. So opening the third house up from 1888. Excuse me, 1838, the William Roper home. Find his Greek revival single house on the high battery. Giant columns at the top, the gold, the hundred capital heads. I love the way they embellish the earthquake bolts and lion's heads motifs. But yeah, this is East Battery, the street we're on here. And it's all reclaimed water in March, pretty much. Now there was a little bit of high land, and on it is built the oldest house in the high battery that is open to the public. You can visit it. It's a museum home coming up on your left. Built 1825 to 1828 is the Edmonton Austin House. Beautiful hand-carved wooden double brackets over under beautiful iron balcony. Yeah. Edmonton Austin House on your left was the headquarters for General Beauregard on the fine Fort Sumter. So you had a good view, obviously.
Yeah, excellent.
And in the harbor. One of my favorite homes from the left. Kind of off the white. Architecturally, it's a Beau Arts Renaissance revival Italianate. And of course, they Simon home, very bold. Husband and wife had a dispute. Couldn't decide which piazza to build.
Wow.
So they built one of each on the left. Put a little crosswalk. They could visit one another that way. Notice the gray house with the gray shutters on the left, kind of leaning a bit to the left.
Yeah.
I think it's classic. It's actually the class of it. Brick stucco scallop. Yeah, the Mission Room house on your right. We'll turn this little curve and be off the East Battery and onto the high ground, the bay, the street running by the bay. And extending on that East Bay, home and headquarters of the Historic Charleston Foundation. There's a plaque on the left because in the basement's the foundation of the southeast corner gunner place, the Granville Baxter in the Wall City. Now, little alleyways you folks may discover and explore, maybe bump into a ghost, but Pirates Backyard Garden for sure. Take a peek down Stoles Alley to your left. Runs a block over to Church Street. Remember, too, these ships came in with English and European streamstone for ballast. They offloaded a lot of it here to put on more profit, increase their profitability to the next port of calls.
Yeah.
By the way, this is the playground. It's got the restrooms in it right here on your right. Yeah. This George Charleston Foundation is not open. But we made real bumpy cobblestone streets. We've only got about 10 cobblestone streets left remaining on the peninsula. Most of them are in the warfare. The next 3 streets are on the right of all cobblestone and all wharfs. Coming up on your left there, Trad Street, remember it predated the Wall City and Indies Row buildings. Because this was Charleston's original commercial industrial shipbuilding grinding state district. Ships leather came almost with gray bells and brick and cobblestone beat. And over here to your left, in fine English European war fashion, downstairs with the businesses. Dining rooms, living quarters upstairs. All this area was a slum during the 1920s when the Renaissance occurred. And this is where the preservationists came first. They brought back the Caribbean custom of pastel colors to keep the heat down after they restored these structures. By the end of the 1930s, we had the designation on your left, Rainbow Row. So this is Rainbow Row on your left, folks. Remember, these wooden doors must be maintained. They're part of the architecture. Some of the carriage paths go all the way through. Most have been cut off for more living space, but the doors must remain part of the architecture. Take a peek to your right down north as you walk, you'll see part of Waterfront Park. 5 blocks on the southeastern side of the peninsula, we got a great park. We're walking around and taking in the ambulance, the maritime activities of Cooper River and Charleston Harbor. The Pineapple Fountain. We got another bride over here on the left taking pictures. Charleston's for lovers, like I said.
It's a romantic city.
That it is. In fact, in front of us here, built 1771. Over the original entrance to the wall city is the Customs House by the British. But through natural civil landfill, these wharves migrated to our right and up the river and started the Customs House. 6 blocks further up, the end of the market. This is now a museum. Called the Old Exchange Building and Provost Dungeon. In the dungeon, the only place you can see part of the original Wall City. It's around the wall of the Admiral Battery Police Station in Wall City. May of 1791, from the waterside where President George Washington was welcomed to Charleston, given a lavish ball in the second story. Stayed here about 8 days, gave some speeches. Right there at that balcony. Now we're back on the Broad Street. Throughout the tour, I hope you've noticed, folks, that every one of these structures you've been looking at has been different. They're different architectural style, they're different artistic embellishments. From different time periods, different arrangements on the lot, different sizes, different colors, mostly all old and restored. It's part of the charm of this old town, makes it easily one of the top 3 cities in America. North America, including Canada, folks want to come visit. Back for the last 4 years, the readers of Travel Leisure magazine has listed Charleston the #1 city in America to come visit. This year they listed us the #1 city in the world to come visit.
That's beautiful.
Flattered us greatly. Of course, the World Travelers of Congress the year before had bestowed on us the #1 city in the world to come visit. That flattered us too, and a very cultured town. For 38 years, we have hosted Spoleto, the International Festival of the Performing Arts for the Western Hemisphere. We had the first opera in America performed here in town in 1690 in the long room above a tavern. Of course, during the Roaring Twenties, we had the all-black African band, the Daniel Jenkins Orphanage. Give us that grand dance, took the country by storm, the Charleston.
Or the song that the dance Charleston.
Yeah, it came from the Daniel Jenkins Orphanage band, yeah. At St. Michael's again. Bell Tower used as a lookout tower during the Revolutionary War. Flag single tower during the war. Used to have Shepherd's Tavern on the right, where the first Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, Solomon's Joint, was founded. And Freemasons had a lot of those here. Still do. Now we're in the French Quarter with its art galleries, and it did not get that designation, folks, until the 1970s for the French Huguenot Church primarily. In 1856, they outlawed the public auction of slaves from public conveyance of street corners, pubs and taverns, because it became very distasteful to a lot of folks here, particularly the Europeans. So from 1856 to emancipation in 1865, the viewing and auction slaves in the city limits of Charleston had to be done in barricades, which were jail cells on top and interior auction blocks out of public view. Most of that activity was centered in this 1 block on our right, then only 1 block off the wharf at the time. And Chambers Street here is the longest reconstituted cobblestone street we have on the peninsula. Down to your right on the left, folks, is a Daisy building with little white columns and an archway. That is the southern end of the original slave auction house on Bryan's Barracoon, where you will find the Slave Museum. And right above the archway, it'll say Slave Market Museum. Well, folks, what better place to have a museum for that peculiar institution in Charleston to look under the South slavery to where it actually occurred with one West African culture covered in as well. Down to your right on the left, number 6 Ryan's March, open 9 to 5, Monday through Saturday. Closed on Sundays, major holidays, fitness owned by the city of Charleston.
So what's it cost French quarters? What French?
For the French Huguenot Church, primarily up there. They said there were some French merchants in here too, but they were probably all Huguenot. One of my favorite buildings to your left is 1808. Planners Inn. The planners are the boys your products down, make all that money, and obviously entertaining here. Connecticut sandstone columns, hand carved wooden brackets holding up that 1808. Philadelphia produced balconies. Now, a cultural venue, the Dock Street Theater, for a reason. You see, in front of us, Queen Street until 1740 was Dock Street. And around the corner in 1736, the first theater built specifically for theatrical productions, the Dock Street Theater was built. But this was all a slum in the 1930s during the Depression, so as a work progress administration project, took the old Dock Street Theater, put it in the old Planners Hotel, made it to the new Dock Street Theater, where it still keeps a full theater season. It is the oldest of its kind in America. Now, the French Huguenots have always had a church at the site of the right since 1686. That church dates 1844. It's the first Gothic revival architecture style church we have on the peninsula. And called Royal
Church had built.
1838 is when this one was built.
1838.
1838.
What's the name of the theater?
St. Philip's Dock Street Theater. That's what they call it, the old Planners Hotel. You can see down to your right, see the fountains of waterfront corner. Yeah, this is 1838 St. Philip's Episcopal Church. Beautiful iron gates, north and south gates. Quite a building accomplishment too. Brick, stucco, scoured to make it look like stone. It's all smooth. That's all brick too. A lot of stucco. Heavily influenced by St. Martin's of the Field. In London, 3 different porticos, all streets led to the church. The iron ivy leaf motif gates on your left to the West Cemetery, date 1772. We had very few pre-Revolutionary War iron gates. Most of it was given up for the Confederate cause during the war. Those are original. And now if you'll notice, we're coming out of the highland because we're running out of the 63 acres that were at the Wall City. We'll be going into the market to wind this thing up. Passing by the oldest civic structure in the Carolinas, built when Charleston was the capital of North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, inside the 2 walls on the moat of the Wall City, when it was owned by the stockholders, the lords proprietors. About 1712 to 1713, to house the gunpowder. It's over to your left, across the parking lot, the brick wall. There sits a 3-foot thick brick tabby structure with its pan-tile clay orange roof, the old gunpowder magazine. There's designs that if ever got hit with a shell, it caught fire and blew that roof off. Took all the energy up instead of out. Not damaging other buildings in the Wall City, shed a blow up instead of a blowout, neither of which ever occurred. It's now the names of the Revolution Museum and Media House. Here's Cumberland Street, I mentioned at the beginning, to your left 1 block, the meeting to your right, these beds, 2 walls in the moat frame. Very fine, the Cumberland Street with the powder magazine, the parking lot, and this parking garage on your left, folks, for the market area. Because as you see, most of this town is residential. That makes parking an issue. And over the last 25 years, Charleston has become a world-class culinary destination. Southeastern beer, award-winning chefs and aspirants in these kitchens. Over the last 5 years, I've noticed a lot of folks coming to Charleston. I characterize them as tourist termites.
Tourists.
They've come to eat their way through this town. There's restaurants. We invite you to join them, by the way. It's appropriate we have so many restaurants in the market area. People tend to look at this market, want to say it's a slave market where slaves were sold. I won't argue for it because it does look like they should have been sold here. Fact is, folks, no slaves were ever sold here. It was a creek and marsh in 1800. Mostly owned this land by Charles Cuthbert Pinckney, a sign of the Constitution from South Carolina.
Owned this land?
Owned the better part of what's now in the market here.
And he signed the Constitution. He's one of the signers.
Yeah, he was one of the signers of the Constitution, yeah.
Wow.
He's also the first ambassador to France for the United States. But he gave this under long-term lease to the people of Charleston 2 conditions. This area must remain public and no slaves to be sold there. Either one of those two violators, it goes back to the Pinckney family. It's still around, their descendants. So what do? You fill in the creek and marsh, then you build a supermarket with vendor stalls, and you open it to the public here of Charleston in 1807. And then to your left, between North and South Market and Meeting Street, you build an 1841 Grit Temple architecture-style market hall, where the business office was at, social occasions held there. It's now the Daughters of the Confederacy Museum. Underneath it, of course, was the meat market, then coming down left to right, fruit and vegetable meat, vendors, smaller meats, poultry.
So this is an old city or a new city?
What's that?
This is 1800?
This is 1800, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the old wall city went back there.
Okay.
Came
So
down
this
back
enclave here was way
This
back
was a
in
creek
1800.
and marsh in 1800. By 1808, it had been filled in and the supermarket built. See if we can get through there. Yeah, you got it.
Of course not.
Oh, they're used to it.
Of course, I wait for me, but
Yeah, this is now what I call a bazaar.
It's pretty neat. It's
There's
active.
a little bit of everything for everyone here. Open bazaar. It's down at the end, when it was a supermarket, was a fish and seafood market, of course. It's down on the water. You got the cruise ship down there now. And this is a favorite haunt for the retail therapy inclined.
Oh, you got a cruise ship port there.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the,
So how
That's
does the
the city, I
ship
think.
gets up here? Come up through the
no,
river?
they're coming right up,
Through the
that's the
river?
harbor right there, yeah.
Oh.
They come right into the harbor entrance. Yeah, that's we're the home port. The Escasy. So it leaves about, he's got a 5-day trip down to the Bahamas and Key West before it comes back. Leaves every week.
Wow.
He'll be leaving at about 5 o'clock today. Couple hours.
Oh, it goes from here to the Bahamas.
Yeah. Then, yeah. Bahamas and Key West, it comes back up in.
That's nice cruise.
Yeah. Hope that gave you folks a little bit of the image, the history, the culture, the character, and the architecture of this old town. Give you a few ideas of where to walk about. Take pictures. I know you won't remember most of everything I talked about, and that's okay, because frankly, I barely scratched the surface here, folks. Every one of these structures has got a history and a story to tell, and just remember how DuBose ever described Charleston. It's a beautiful, old, historic, charming southern town that time forgot before it destroyed. We as inhabitants, we've had our nose knocked in the dirt more than once by man-made mercy natural disasters. We've always picked ourselves up, dusted ourselves off, and persevered, and I'm sure we will continue to do that.
I noticed the storm didn't do anything here.
Do what?
The storm didn't come through.
Last night?
Yes.
No, it came to the north of us.
Oh.
But it threw a lot of branches here and around, a few trees here and there too, took down. Took down one on George Street, George on the College of Charleston campus, George and Cummings Street. So it did a little damage. But these, a lot of these buildings are built stout,
Solid.
solid.
So they have what we call footing underneath them, spikes. What they build on? Since it was marshland.
Well, some of them, yeah, they've got pilings underneath.
Pilot, yeah.
Yeah, pilings underneath them. Some of them have steel beams
Yeah.
running through them as well. So they're quite stout here. They withstood a lot. Of course, some of them are massive. You got 3-foot thick brick stucco walls.
So actually they
It's
have to push down.
the big bad winds of the hurricanes. Going to have a hard time dealing with that. It might tear up some roofs and some shingles, but the houses themselves maybe blow in some windows. Got an 1850 Greek Revival church down there, Trinity Methodist Church. Massive churches here, folks, massive size. Congregation had massive wealth.
tell us your name. What was your name again?
Alan.
Alan.
Yeah.
Alan. Oh, well, I was.
You were busy hooking up your cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just tweak on through that. Yeah, it looks like the farmer's market. They wound up all night and was up till 2:30. They get it, putting them up and breaking it back down again. Do it every Saturday for the better part of the year.
Okay.
By the way, there's our mountain to your right, 20 feet above sea level, Rag Square. Behind it, the church is from 1811, Fourth Oldest Church, Second Presbyterian Church. We're going to put a steeple on it, but the congregation ran out of money, so they just capped it at the bell tower. There it was, they ran out of money.
I'm fascinated how distinctive the city's laid out. We have something for everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, a little bit. It's,
Something-
the proprietor is one that laid out in the grand model, but the Spanish kind of got in the way of that, and the Native Americans, they had to baroque it a little bit.
Yeah. So the Spanish was the first to settle it?
No, they were the first to try to kick the English out of here, though.
Oh, there's the battle to kick the English
Yeah.
out. Was it Spanish?
Yeah, they considered this whole region, which they weren't, they were just getting it for the resources.
Yeah.
They called it Provincia de Chicora.
Well, there was representatives of the Catholic Church.
Well, they didn't let the Catholics in here originally,
Yeah.
because the proprietors were Anglican. They didn't want the Pope in their business, frankly.
Oh, you mean the English didn't want to Pope in the
Well,
business?
the Anglican English,
Right.
the Church of England, they didn't want the Pope in their business, not here.
Yeah.
So originally, that's the one group that they kind of forbade in here. They finally got here. That's after the proprietors, the rule. The king and the crown owned this place then. Hey, here you are, folks. Enjoyed having you. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Down them folks down there in St. Thomas.
Huh?
I said, tell those folks down there in the Caribbean to come see us.
Okay, yeah, they will. Maybe they're already here.
Here we are on the August Brown Walk, taking a stroll. High noon. That's how you do it in Augusta, Georgia.
So we're
All
here at,
right.
actually Augusta Boardwalk, and down here is the river itself, and this is a beautiful reconstruction boardwalk, right?
Yes, we're right here,
Yeah.
next to the St. Paul's Church. They welcome all members. They said to come in. They consider it holy ground, but yet still, when I look at their propaganda that they have there, their bulletin board, I don't see all nationalities represented within this church ground. So once again, we're right back to where we started back in the 1960s, 50s, 40s, 20s. There's no mixture, no segregation of power here. It just represents, even though they have a sign that says they welcome all nationalities, that's not what presented here in the church. Here, at least, it's Augusta, Georgia, St. Paul's Church.
All right. Over now.
All right. Wish you were here. Turn it here. You don't signal. Got cameras all over the place. Oh well, that's how you are anyway. There's Jamesy.
You want to start with take a picture here?
We already have a picture of him.
We don't.
We have a picture of him with my mom and them. Come on, Leon. Don't lie now. Be for real.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, I don't see it. I didn't see it.
Well, Leon, you didn't look for it hard enough either. So you trying to tell me you don't find no pictures of my mom and us and Precious and everybody, and Sakani was with us too. So that tell you you have it, because I remember it. If you don't, you catch it on the next go around.
It's the next go around for me.
Well, then that's it. You ain't planning on living life long enough to repeat a process. So I can't help you on that one. Broad Street, going down Broad Street in Augusta, Georgia. Everything closed.
I was surprised for the holiday. Stuff shouldn't be closed for the holiday. You know, everything should be open, trying to make some money
Especially today.
with the tourists coming through. It's not good marketing at all. You would think that this place would be
Hopping
booming,
especially for the weekend.
jumping, you know what I'm saying?
Are you in a real lane?
Yeah, I am. All the way in.
There's park space right there.
How did it emerge as a city? How did it came about? Based on the what?
Now, I'm not too much into the history of Buckhead. My mama might know more about it.
Okay, so it's sprang off the Okiki River.
Well,
How does that? How do?
Madison, Georgia, historical Madison. This is like the country part of Madison.
Oh, the
It
one that.
stems on Madison, Georgia.
Okay, so this was like the Madison, Georgia was aristocratic part of Georgia,
Right.
where the noble people live, and down here,
Madison actually came through Madison.
yeah,
And this was the only town that he didn't burn down.
Sherman didn't burn down because it was too pretty to be. Yeah,
I think-
Sherman didn't burn it down. Sherman didn't burn down Madison because he considered it was too pretty to burn down.
Right.
So Buckhead maybe symbolized the plantation type setting,
Right.
and the people who live in Madison had owned this plantation, and these people down here was a supportive of that structure.
Right.
So that's how Buckhead came into existence. And I didn't know that. I didn't even realize that Madison was tied into Buckhead.
Right.
Okay, so how long you live in Buckhead?
Well, I have lived in Buckhead mainly all my life. My mama, she been in Buckhead for 28 years.
Okay, so this business here is called Soul Food. Is it reflection of something way back?
Well, it's actually a reflection of, we named it after my uncle.
Okay.
His name was Benny Paul Jr. My granddaddy is Benny Paul Sr.
Okay.
And we lost my uncle in a tragic accident, car accident. So, in memory of him, my mama, she said she just had a dream. And the restaurant, she had a restaurant. And she, it was named Benny Paul. So
Okay.
she put it into reality.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
We've been open now for 2 years.
Okay, so this is the only store
No.
that represented by Black Americans
Yeah, around this area.
in Buckhead. So this is not a city limit though.
Yeah,
This is it?
City limit.
This is city limit.
Yeah.
So when it's a historical Buckhead, what are we looking for here?
Those buildings like that, I don't know what's it about them, but a lot of people stop and take pictures in front of them.
We in soul food restaurant here in
One of them's
Buckhead.
mine.
Buckhead,
One of
Georgia.
the corners are mine.
Buckhead, Georgia. We stop in here and have a nice meal. Amen.
This is not an amen.
We gonna be
Oh, right here?
yeah, right here.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna sit right here. No, I'm gonna sit right here. So
Oh,
I
you're
can see.
blocking me then. Go on the other
I
side.
didn't want to put my back right here.
You be facing this way.
Who told you I want you to take a picture of me eating? I don't want a picture of me eating.
I didn't pick no picture of eating for this.
Like, Hey, why don't you just park down there? We can walk back up.
Well,
Don't drop it now.
I don't see any lights on in there.
I don't see no plaque. See that?
This is old. This is it. This is it. All this parking, you gonna park in the middle of the road.
This ain't nobody but me.
You turn it off?
What?
Everything out here dead.
Yeah. No plaque telling you anything about the place. Even the little entertainment there. It's dead. That should be jumping, right?
Driving in, let's see.
Maybe it's a night thing. Main Street Center. Take that
You have to get out there.
information, take a shot of it. All fresh.
Why couldn't you park right?
Don't you go stand in front of the camera?
No,
1 minute.
no.
Some architect.
Only you guys had wider.
Look at this.
Man, don't stop in the middle of the street. You're asking for trouble.